Welcome to Studio A here on Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. Huzzah! It is time for Planet Collingwood Open Roundtable to finish its orbit and other silly things like that. And it's impeachment day again. And I've been watching the Louder with Crowder stream because they thought they had to keep up to date because it's just basically boring. Where I did read that apparently they thought it is constitutional to impeach someone that's left office. Doesn't make sense at all. But there you go. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, a big thank you to Why Not and the Wi-Fiers and gentlemen, as always. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to the website, freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can. Every bit helps. We're 100% listener supported, so thank you for all your helpings. And then you can go, while you're at the website, go to the Zazzle store, buy some merchandise. We've got onesies for the kids. We don't accept children. We only take federalised debt notes because that's how the game we play at this point in time. There's caps, t-shirts, mugs. I don't know if we have I really should check up if we have beanies because you're in the middle of winter in the northern hemisphere, and we're in the southern hemisphere. Hello from the future. It's 6 o'clock in the evening here on Wednesday. 14 hours ahead of where you are. Well, the east coast of the United States, of course. I'm on the east coast of Australia, which is on top of the world. All your maps are wrong. And once you've bought some merchandise and you've donated to as much as you can, pop into the chat room and hang out with like-minded, like-hearted, just liked people, and having a lovely conversation. But I won't say what it is because you'll have to go to the chat room to see what I did there. Haha. It's like the no jab, no pay thing. Oh, vaccines aren't mandatory, but if you don't have the vaccine, you can't have a job, you can't travel, and you can't get into stores and buy food. But they're not mandatory. Yeah, okay. If you want to join me, just send a message on Skype and I'll add you to the call. Here's one I did earlier. Our New South Welshman correspondent, Cortek. Are you there, sir?
G'day. Hello. G'day. Hello.
Are you greeting me or you're trying to...
This is a message.
Oh, thank you. Oh, damn it, I got caught out again. Or, you're greeting me or you just practicing to see which one will work. I could say g'day, or I could say hello. G'day, hello.
Hello, g'day.
Hello, g'day, g'day, hello. Or greetings and salutations, whatever that means. So.
Go on.
Go on. How was it up there? We actually have, it's a summery day down here in Melbourne. Top of 30, it's 29 at the moment. What's the weather like going to be? Sunny, which just means, a cloudless sky. And it's 33 tomorrow in Melbourne, and then on Friday, 80% chance of rain. So hopefully there's that traditional...
Just in time for the weekend.
Well, yeah, but you're talking to a hermit. I mean, the last 5 years have been a weekend for me. So, you mean I can't leave the house? Oh, no. What will I do?
Oh, no. Yeah, outside's kind of cool for stuff sometimes.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, there is that walk to the letterbox. That's true. Yeah.
Anything could happen.
That was a sad state of affairs this time last year when you find out, you're on lockdown, you can't do this and you can't do that, you have to social distance and you can't leave your house, and I did that already. Wow. I really should do some introspection then on my life. When everyone goes into lockdown and you haven't changed your lifestyle at all. Ooh.
I saw an interesting video during the week about if 2020 showed us anything, it was that the big tech companies that we couldn't really trust anymore, the ones that would just sell you out. You had this sneaking suspicion when Google bought Cyberdyne Industries, Boston Dynamics. And and it was, starting to go a little bit funny there. And last year, in terms of, the content that they completely just deleted of people's, it was just ridiculous. So there's been a lot of people looking for a solution to that where the content can't be deleted and it's not just completely censored. and I think this is a couple of months old. Excuse me, a couple of months old. But have you seen Odyssey?
I've heard of it. I haven't been to the website. You're referring
Yes.
to another video platform.
Yeah, so I've only seen this. I've only seen this in the last couple of days. John actually showed me a video, or sent me a link to a video, which was just this dude talking about 2021 really is going to be an alt tech kind of year where people find that all those programs that they got used to using, that they can find an easy kind of replacement for it. And apparently people there's articles coming out talking about them and just basically kind of hinting that it's something that's beyond control and they can't control the conversation anymore, kind of thing. But Odyssey is the front face of it, where you can just go and watch videos. But if you want to be a producer or a content creator, then you download the blockchain back end of it. It's called Library, or LBRY, I think, and that lets you have more control over your content, I think, in terms of it being archived or something like that, and it not being able to be deleted and be much more.
Okay, what I'm getting from you is, so what you're saying now. Let me just go for a wander in imagination land and see if I'm on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Companies are going to offer freedom, and they'll do well. Is that's what I'm getting here?
Yeah, it's open source, so that's basically it. So people are going to offer open source things where people don't make you sign an agreement so they can look down your pants, and people are going to be happy about that, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say that's good marketing of we rather have freedom, and there's no catch.
I mean, a lot of people aren't really conscious of what's going on or the changes that were made to WhatsApp and stuff like that, and why they should just completely change off WhatsApp. And a lot of people aren't even aware of that. But yeah, if 2020 showed us anything, it was really what companies we can and can't trust going forward. I mean, we probably can't trust any of them, but
no,
a lot of them less so.
In this day and age, and when I say age, I mean the last 12,000 years. In this day and age, like a whole Yaga Kula, one of the Mayan age of 3,000 years or something. Anyway,
in terms of Odyssey, in terms of revenue for content creators as well, they seems to be a hybrid between. What is actually, the station is on something as well as YouTube. It's on it's a content creator platform where people subscribe to that.
There's Patreon.
Yeah. So the payment for Odyssey seems to be like a mashup of the Patreon method, where or mashup between Twitch and Patreon, really, where people can still. It seems like people can subscribe for user-only content if you're a creator, or people can almost throw bits your way, like in Twitch, kind of thing. It seems to be trying to make it more of an alternative for content creators who want to use it to make a living, kind of thing, or have a big following and are thinking about maybe they don't want their stuff to get removed, so they could bring their audiences over, kind of thing. But I don't think it's a good thing. Anything open source is a good thing.
Yeah, but being me, I'll be slightly pessimistic. It's like, really, I have to join another friggin' app? It's like, you can... Hi, my name's Monty Dean. I'm part of Wafer Thin Entertainment. I have 3 shows at this point in time. I have the comedy show with Andrew Butts as the Galactic Historian, the Monty Dean podcast, as well as Planet Collingwood. You could find me on Facebook. Well, no, not anymore. I was on Facebook. Now you can find me on Twitter. No, not anymore. Not in Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. No, sorry, not Instagram. It's now Gab. No, not Gab. I'm on Minds. No, I'm not on Minds. On Parler. Oh, that's been taken down. I was on Parler. I'm going to stop the joke there. I could get on for another 20 bloody apps.
Yeah.
But all of these where can they find you? It's like, in the nut house.
All of these previous apps didn't do the homework in terms of having servers that they controlled. That was their problem.
Yeah, it's just really annoying. Of I'm still on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They're the big three at the moment. And YouTube obviously is Way for Thing Entertainment, and I'm up to 547 subs. Like, yes, that's my ceiling. I'm doing well. I only need another 500 to get monetized, and then the double-edged sword of like I could earn 30 cents a week. All right. And or YouTube's like, we don't like what you're saying.
You should be a streaming music artist as well. You get another 37 cents if people streamed your song 1 billion times.
Yeah, well, actually, saying that the 2021 seems to be my year. I'm working on a project at the moment, and once I finish, I'm recording my voice, and I'm using what's it called, Logic. Yeah, I've had it for a couple of years. Oh, what's that program, where they do the recording?
Logic's good.
Yeah. And so I'm using that, and so I'm getting used to it. And then my next project was like, I've had this music idea for about 25 years, and the technology is caught up where I don't need anyone else.
Yeah.
So why not?
It's called Ableton Live. I've been slowly phasing out real people for robots for years.
We're talking musically, not socially.
Yeah,
we're not going to marry. Or anything. I don't want to marry a sex bot. I actually want another human being so I can have that spiritual connection and elevate ourselves in a vibrationary evolution, not an appliance.
Not half robot gimps in the basement.
No. I mean the cat's all right, but you can't get romantic for many reasons.
Too much fluff.
Well, and also size, and it's just wrong.
It's just wrong.
It's just wrong. Bestiality, that's the way to go. No, it's not, you sick bastards.
So, do you play around with Ableton a lot? At all?
No.
Have you played around with Ableton?
Is Ableton on Mac?
Ableton's on cross-platform, yeah.
Yeah.
So
no,
have
you
played around with... Sorry, go on.
I did play around with Reason.
Reason, that's what I was going to ask you next.
Yeah.
So I went from kind of Cubase to Reason for a long time, and it's a great platform, and that accepts VSTs and all that kind of stuff, and you can do what you want with it, or you can use Reason as a VST if you like their kind of stuff. VST is just something you load within other digital audio workstations or DAWs.
Yeah.
I went to Reason for a long time, and it was great. And then I went and tried kind of a lot more live looping stuff in Ableton, where you, instead of kind of drawing stuff in or doing it on a traditional timeline, you are doing it in kind of clips. So you kind of play the stuff as you go, and as soon as you finish doing that loop, it kind of keeps going, and you build on top of that. And it's a really, really cool live way of arranging, rather than just with a mouse and stuff. You tend to be playing more stuff in, and then you get that to the point where you can just keep rolling, kind of thing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm playing around with after Ableton, I've gone to Native Instruments stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's a different kind of interface, but it means I can kind of have everything in the one bit of hardware, and anything you can do to stop reaching down for the mouse, anything you can do that stops reaching down for the mouse, and you get a more hardware, less software kind of thing.
Yeah,
but to control software and have that hybrid setup is, it's tricky, but
it's too much choice with it. So when I'm at the right moment, I'll definitely have a look at it. And there's so much choice, and I actually do have a electronic keyboard piano thing. I really should plug it in and see if it works.
That's all you need. Yeah. Ableton and a MIDI keyboard, and you can do everything.
Yeah, I want to learn. I think GarageBand still has Learn Piano, so I'll learn piano so I can get that. I mean, I've been playing guitar for 25 years. And I've got Tune Track, which is a drum machine basically. So I just need to sit down and create and see what comes up, and I can sort of sing. So that's sort of one of the goals thing, and I just spiritually try and do it. And then if I get some dollars from it, hey, at least
music
I've done
is just good for the soul.
Exactly. Someone who is good for the soul as well is HiJacker. HiJacker, are you there, sir? He's joined us.
Yeah, how am I coming in, Monty?
Sound good?
Okay, so I don't get on the radio anymore. I don't do Deacon's show anymore. I basically
Really?
no, I don't. basically a call-in. I'm a caller now. But so anyways, I got a plate of maggots and cockroaches and spiders for you Aussies.
Excellent.
Right.
Monkey brain soup.
Okay, so did you hear Jeff Rentz tonight with John David Oates?
What did he say?
It's horrible. So he did reverse speech on some of your prime ministers, and your not prime ministers. What's the lower level behind the prime minister? Is
there's a deputy prime minister, and then you've got ministers, which is like finance minister,
ministers,
health,
ministers.
Yeah.
So, anyways, John David Oates did a whole thing tonight on Jeff Rentz, and it was horrible. I mean,
give us the
these
gist.
are the reverse. Yeah, these are the reverse speeches that this guy came up with. Lucifer owns Australia. Satan has now taken control of Australia. China and some kind of demonic being or whatever is now in the preview of Australia. I mean, when you take a look at what basically Jeff Rentz did with John David Oates tonight on reverse speech, John David Oates, I mean, he's about to blow his brains out. He's like in complete, total sadness. The reverse speech was like, it was like over the top. I mean, we thought about Biden saying "Hail Satan" or something like that. It was like over the top for Australia.
Australia would be a really, really hard word to do backwards. I've heard a lot of kind of reverse speech. It'd be really tricky. Do you have a link for us, or can you play this for us, HiJacker?
No, just go to Jeff Rentz tonight. The last hour, John Day.
Is that rents.com?
John David, no. Rents.com. But John David Oates, and he gives a reverse speech of these ministers, and it is really, really grim.
Grim. Is this Australian ministers that he's done reverse speech on?
Yes. He did all tonight. All he did was Australians, and it was so dark. I mean, you're talking about he was actually basically, once he did the reverse speech, he got Lucifer a couple of times. He got Satan a couple of times. He got like anarchy and annihilation, China, overwhelm. Basically, we've been sold out. I mean, he's basically to the point. He really was in depression tonight. And so that's the last hour of JeffRentz.com.
No link though.
John.
You don't have a link right there. Do you have a link right there we can put in chat?
No, I'm not technological. I'm not a computer person. That's why I'm off the air right now. Nobody helped me. I mean, I couldn't. I can only go forward on changing reality certain ways, but when it comes to technology and keyboards and
without any proof, numbers, it's kind of hearsay.
Right.
Yeah, but
no. He took the actual ministers. I mean, he's got them actually saying things that even Jeff Rentz. What did Jeff Rentz said? He says they're like a fattened turkey. Unbelievable speech of these prime ministers or these ministers that are actually speaking of what they plan on doing with Australia.
Well, they would try to. So like, it's not hard. It's not hard and fast. That's what they're trying to do. But there's also
no. I know y'all are taking the vaccines.
No, what vaccine? No, right now there's no vaccines. They want to bring it in, and apparently,
John David Oates basically says that most Australians they're basically sucking up the vaccines.
Is John
anything to
David
stop.
Oates an American? Because it sounds like
He's
he's
an
got poor
Australian.
intel. John
He's
David
an
Oates is an
icon.
Australian. He's an
icon in
there's
Australia.
there's a lot of people that overseas people are told that Australians are Australian icons, like Foster's beer, but actually they don't sell Foster's beer in Australia anyway. No one would drink that piss. They sell it in England, and there's
You don't know who Oates is in Australia?
he's not an icon, dude. So you're being told he's an icon is my point.
Wow.
You're being told to listen to what he's got to say, but actually no one does here.
He probably does actually have his own audience and crowd, and he's done well.
In America.
Anywhere. It's global. It doesn't really matter. But
if he's not an icon in Australia, he's an icon in America.
I'm sure he is. That's why you listen to him.
He's an Australian icon.
David Oates Show. He's an American dude, isn't he?
No. He's an Aussie.
David now has several shows he does weekly on the Reverse Speech Radio Network. Right? There's a network. There's a network now.
Exactly.
So anyway, but there's a lot of people that are very worried about it. So it depends on if they.
Yeah, my point is, this is my point. Let's get back to the political.
Next time, bring a link. Go on.
I just shared the Chicago Brew sent me the link.
Manipulate the buttons and everything else. And all this stuff.
If I could finish my sentence, we could just move past all this, because I was about to say Chicago Brew just sent me a link to the last hour of Jeff French's show for today in the last 24 hours, and I put it into the chat, and I'm going to put it into the station chat. So there we go.
Moving forward.
Well, Monty, you go ahead and play it, and you're going to scare the hell out of all of the Aussies.
It's not scary, dude. It's not scary. Like I've done what's that? Stairways. You ever played Stairways of Heaven on vinyl backwards? And there's two paths you can go by, right? But in the long run, that does say whose power Satan and stuff like that. Like that does happen. It's a thing. Yeah. But how reliable it is about anything, when
you got
you may as well get a Ouija board out. You may as well get a Ouija board out and get the cup out.
Wait a minute, Cortex. Wait a minute, Cortex. Are you disinfo, or what are you?
Are you disinfo, HiJacker?
Well,
the first time people have asked.
Just everyone take a breath, because once again I was trying to explain there are these the ministers and the entities, they want people to believe this, so it's like the quantum physics thing. That's happening, and so that will give energy to it. It's not 100% in reality happening though. It's what they want to happen, and by giving consent to it, tacit consent, it's allowed to happen. But there's a lot of people in Australia where they don't even my mum, who takes she gets the flu shot every year. I don't know why, but free will. But she's not going to take the first round of vaccines, because she's got a little bit of critical thinking of it's only a year old, and people don't trust it. And you can see it in the media as well, where they're making everything black or white, or red or blue, or left or right, where if you're against, you're a bit worried, or you start to question the COVID vaccine, you're instantly an anti-vaxxer. It's like, well, no, I like vaccines. I also like vaccines that work and that are safe.
I've just done a tiny bit of research too. Anyone fooling around with mRNA vaccines is basically paperclip people really starved for human subjects to test on. This is a big testing. There's a lot of data coming out of this. It's not good though. Actually,
on the ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation website, I took a quick survey of what group, because there's 5 groups apparently that will be receiving the vaccines. I'm an other adult, so I'm group 4, and apparently I may be offered the vaccine between July and August of this year, or July and September. Sorry. So by then we'll find out if the vaccine's dangerous or not, because people, because they tried that with Gardasil. After the 8th young girl died, it's like, okay, we'll stop giving it to people.
There's been a lot of negative stories here and there coming out. Okay, shush, we'll try again. Oh, shush. Oh, another year goes by. Yeah, no, sure, we can do this. No, you can't. And no one's going to go for it.
Oh, no, there will be people that still believe, but it's not, you can't generalize, say, all Australians. It's like all Australians lost their guns. Well, no, I didn't have a gun to lose. I don't have the opportunity to have an automatic weapon now, but we're in a different culture where we weren't really gun-based. But if you're on the farm, you kind of need weaponry like that for animals and, self-defense and everything.
Yeah.
So
What if two foxes show their eyes in the spotlight at once?
it's a conspiracy. They're working together. So
Well, no, my point is,
What else you got? What else you got, HiJacker? How else are you going to shit show Australia?
And also, no one really likes our politicians anymore. There's a small group of people that, politicians are great. Everyone else is like, this guy's the complete HiJacker. I don't know if you've seen just what they're doing for lockdowns, where the states, we've only got, the size of the United States. You've been there for a while. You know how many, got 50 states in the one area. In the same landmass, we have 5 states and 2 territories. And the premiers, which is like the governors of the state, the premiers are actually, because of one person having a COVID test that's positive, they're closing borders between the states. And it's just a very tit for tat, and shit show is a technical term.
State by state, I think they're required to show they can.
Like John David Oates said tonight, you got 9 hospitalized cases of COVID, and you basically shut the whole country down. So, no, but what I'm saying a bigger picture. So John David Oates is basically reversing speech on these different prime ministers, whatever, governors, whatever you call them. And they're talking Lucifer, they're talking Satan, they're talking about being taken over. But I want to go to the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that Biden is now supposedly the U.S. president, and that Australia's only got 30 million people. Australia is on the menu of the communist Chinese. They will overwhelm you within one month. They will take you.
You're full
they
of
get
shit,
here,
HiJacker. You're full of shit.
But if they get here...
No.
You run the same agenda over and over and over,
no,
and no one's buying it.
Your white women are on the menu.
You're running the agenda for yourself or someone else, but no one's buying it here.
Well,
okay,
China,
so you can stop.
China is actually looks at Australia because of all our resources, but to get here, they have to go through most of Asia to get here. So I mean, Malaysians.
They got 100,000 ships.
There's no respect.
Yeah, and also
There's no respect. If
no,
it's
but
done
you
that
got
way.
you got no United States protector now. You're wide open along with Taiwan. You are wide open.
China's
you are rich.
a much more important trade partner that the US is right now. Okay?
Yeah, we've always had that strange sort of dichotomy of we have to be nice to the Americans and Chinese because we benefit from both. There's like protection and the ANZUS Treaty, I think, before New Zealand.
Well, Monty, take a look around who your neighbors are. Monty, who are your neighbors?
New Zealand.
Come on.
New Zealand.
No,
pretty
who
much
are your
just
neighbors?
It's just New Zealand, the Pacific Islands. Like, there's a lot of little ones,
your
but New
neighbors.
Zealand's pretty much it.
Who lives next to you, Monty? Who lives next to you, Cortex? Chinese.
Janine Cooper and her husband.
There's an elderly Chinese couple that live next to me, and they're lovely.
Do you know their name? HiJacker wants their name.
No, I don't know.
Jesus, give
no,
it to him.
I don't know. But I do find it interesting. It's like if China's so great, why do all these people leave it? I mean, they do much better out here.
Some space, I think, just some space.
All I'm simply saying is one of your own, an Aussie, John David Oates.
No one knows this dude. No one knows this dude. He's a hack.
Everybody knows who he is.
No, they
don't. What are you talking about?
No, they don't. No one in the country knows him if he's Australian. He's big and
Cortex. Are you COINTEL? What are you?
Huh?
You don't know who John David Oates is?
No, we've gone through this.
Do you know what John?
No, because that's the thing about alternative media. It's fractured. There isn't like a centralized alternative media.
Monty, do you know who John David Oates is?
No one
does. Mainly also because I'm trying to get out. Apart from this show, I don't really hang around the conspiracy world anymore because it's been looping for 5 years. I'm just here to, it's a comedy show. I'm here to make fun of things because
looping, yeah, that's good. Looping.
I mean, I've been trying to watch the later Crowder broadcast of the impeachment thing, which 4 hours to find out if it was constitutional or not, and you could fall asleep to it. It's so boring, and it's just this whole thing. Like the whole premise is that Trump saying, "Go and have your voice be heard peacefully and protest, and don't do anything, whatever." There's no actual.
Yeah, I just don't know what part of. I don't know what part of you Aussies don't understand that people can't fly to Australia or people can't leave from Australia for the next year and a half. I don't get that. Yeah. Also, John David Oates, you may not know who he is, but he is like a rock star in the United States.
Not. Oh, in the United States. Well,
Yeah, but that's...
Oh, no, you can't tell any alternative broadcaster. Ask him who John David Oates is in America, and they not know who he is. He's got rock star status.
If his main thing is doing reverse speech analysis on things, that ain't rock
He's
star.
He's the founder of it.
That ain't rock star status. This is some dude. This is a nerd. This is some dude. This is not a rock star. Let's revise our terms and terminology.
No, he's broken down. He's broken down everybody. He's broken down Trump before he was president, after he was president. No.
I'm
this
sure
guy's got it.
I'm sure his breakdowns are ambiguous. So
wait a minute, Cortex. Let's get down to brass. So you do not believe that any type of backward masking or reverse speech is actually, it's just all gibberish. That's what you believe. Yes or no?
I didn't say that.
Well, what do you believe?
I don't believe that. I believe it's possible.
What do you believe?
I told you before. I've heard it myself. It happens.
Yeah, occasionally.
But I also don't believe this is one surefire way to prophesize the future. Are you kidding? Are you absolutely kidding me? Let's just sweep this to the side and get on with something else.
Yeah, but what though?
Oh, we got a party tonight. Oh, I love this. Go ahead, Monty.
But I'm so tired of everything. Where I actually watched a video. Someone sent me a video of, if you remember, that young woman who apparently was shot in the neck and died at the Capitol building.
Was that during that storming thing?
Well, yeah, apart from storming, it's where they walked between velvet robes. But yeah, the January the 6th, where it technically is a riot, yeah.
I didn't know anyone got hurt.
Well, you really are out of touch.
I was away at the time when I came back to pictures of the dude
apparently, a woman was shot in the neck and she died. Now, the problem is, if you look at the footage, it looks totally faked and she's surrounded by actors. And 20 minutes after these actors are telling everyone they shot someone, they killed her in the chest, blah, 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 she's been taken out on a gurney and she's still alive. And you can see like a squib. And it looks so fake. Like, if someone's shot in the neck, there was so much more blood. And, I mean, if you really want to, I can try and find the video. It's like 20 minutes long.
Was it kind of like Boston bombing footage?
I haven't really...
Remember, Spielberg was there to make sure it didn't go off without a hitch, the production. He was there. Anywho.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know really what is truthful or not. And that whole day thing was... they're allowing people in. There was for a spontaneous attack. The photographers were getting great photo ops all the way through.
That photo, I think I've seen posted around, where there's a dude in the middle, that dude with the horns or whatever, and then there's just like 14 photographers on either side of the hallways. This is not some setup.
Yeah, and all of this, it happened 10 minutes before Trump finished his speech. Now, someone who could add to the information that we're waffling on about, we've been joined by Chicago Brew. Lord Brew, sir, how are you?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. Summer turned up, so I'm sweating. So it's a hot day in Melbourne today.
It's bitter cold here, so I you won't envy it here, let me tell you that.
No, you just sort of have to meet at Bruce McDonald, which is sort of like in the middle, so you get the balance of it, But I just like everything. I don't know why I decided to watch the Ladder with Crowder thing, where it's like just 4 hours of them going, well, I think that Donald Trump did. Hey, that's rude.
Yeah, I know it is. Of course, I'm a HiJacker. Brew, so what do you say about John David Oates and the reverse speech? You think it's all a bunch of,
I was listening to Monty when he was talking, and then you interrupted him. Monty, would you continue, please?
yeah, that's what I do. Come on.
Yeah,
Well,
but
just hold on. Look, I called in because actually, HiJacker, hello, how are you doing? I hope you're well. Hope the family's well, so on and so forth. But you came onto his show. These two guys were talking. You came on a little hostile here with guns blazing. They don't know who David Hoax is, which is fine. He's on Rents all the time. He does reverse. For like 30 years, the guy's been doing reverse speech. He's actually
Right. How can they not know him? Come on.
free will.
Because they don't.
Because it's boring. It's
I mean, 30 years.
unsubstantiated.
How can they not know
rumor.
the guy?
The guy,
Oh,
if the guy did anything like put it to some good use to get lotto numbers, or actually did anything with it that wasn't just open to 270 degrees of ambiguous, interpretation, then I'm sure we would have heard of him by now. He interests people because he does some things and pops up some Satanist kind of jibble jabble here and there.
Well,
but really, I mean, what's he done?
But he's not alone. He actually started a school. Bunch of people joined his however it is, his academy or whatever it's called. He's got his own 1 hour show on Rents. He's a common guest with Rents. He goes on other networks, and what he does is okay. We can call it a novelty, but actually, with reverse speech is something that the CIA and all these people, they've been using it for years. They use it, in their stuff. And what Dave does, he's an independent person that uses it. So there is truth. The reverse speech actually does the subconscious when they're talking, whether they're reading a script or they're freeballing it. Or,
can show all that.
Cortek, one way of doing it is these because of their structure of reality, Team Dark. I'll just keep it in simple terms. They have to tell their victims or us what they're doing. And one way of doing that would be through reverse speech, where you can listen to AOC talking and then you hear the reverse speech and it's like, she did what with Biden? And it's like, wow, it's even if it's not 100% true, the meaning behind it points. It's like a clue of like, well, what is going on here? It's not like a play-by-play, if you know what I mean, where they don't say, and then I picked up a glass. It's like, we got drunk. I can't.
Does that really? Does reverse speech really absolve them of karma? Which is basically what they want. They want to put the karma on the person themselves.
They believe that. They believe that's the thing. Even if, do aliens exist? Because the CIA in the last 10 years have told the public that UFOs do exist. Just the media doesn't pick up on it. It's always on page 7 at the bottom in a small paragraph. If you know what I mean.
Let me go to Cortek's main point about this, and I have a hard time believing he doesn't even know about this stuff. I mean,
I don't know about this old dude who no one does. No one in Australia does. He's made his way around the circuit in American radio show doing reverse stuff for 30 years. That's great, but in terms of great achievements, I mean, what are they?
The same thing. You guys can start naming off Australian rock bands, and we wouldn't know who the heck you're talking about. But you guys love them; they're famous in Australia. We wouldn't know who. Whatever. It's all bread and butter here.
Let me lay the basics.
Let me tell you something. David Oates is actually famous for when Obama was in office, where he got the reverse speech, and it was like the reverse speech of Obama was like "Hail Satan, Hail Satan," or something like that along those lines. And it's really a creeper clip, but it's but there it is. It's the subconscious, and it's the inner self, the subconscious that's coming out and saying it. So much Hillary Clinton, all the rest of them, and look, you believe it, don't believe it, call it a novelty. It's worth listening to just to kind of be like, I mean, it is there, and it's so believed in. Again, that they've been doing this for decades through the CIA and all these other agencies around the world. I mean, it's really, they use it for their cases and so on.
And the way that they use Cortek as well is they don't actually say I am a devil worshipper, but they use how omens and that type of ilk, where it's symbology and signals and everything else like that. So it's not 100% in language, but because it's the subconscious, like, in the dream time, not everything is 100% logically defined, but there's a theme there. Is that that's a good way of explaining it, I think.
Right. Well, so the basic theory is so think of two sides of a coin, and so when Hillary Clinton speaks to like us, she speaks on like the heads of the coin, the head of the coin, the head of the dime, or the head of the quarter, or whatever. She speaks to us consciously, and so she says certain things on face value that we have in this reality. What reverse speech is, from what I understand, is that because of the dual nature of our human being, that we have a consciousness and a subconsciousness, is that the subconsciousness actually has to speak the truth on what somebody says forward. So when Hillary Clinton says, I'm a good person and I really care about women's rights, well, when you reverse that speech and it goes into the subconscious, the subconscious, and it goes into the kingdom of God is within. It goes actually to some kind of Christian type of philosophy. Anyways, the subconscious has to say what the truth is. And so then Hillary Clinton says, I really care I really care about women and, how they feel or whatever. And then in subconscious, basically Hillary Clinton says, all women are sluts and I hate them all. In her subconscious.
She wouldn't say that. She's a lesbian, isn't she?
No, what she's saying. No, what HiJacker is saying is that
I understand. The reverse it seems to be harping on the subject. I completely, I completely know it's a thing, and it does happen in real life. I've done it myself, and I can see how analyzing those different kind of frequencies once you've recorded it can bring you a lot of stuff, but it's still
Mark Twain has got Mark Twain has a great quote about astrology. Astrology is fascinating. If it turns out that it's 100% fake and it's not it's not true, it's still fascinating.
Yeah, sure. I agree.
But the reverse speech, it does kind of make sense where the subconscious is expressing itself through the reverse speech, and sometimes I hear something and it's very hard to I always said rubber ducky there. Did they? Because it's down to frequency and everything else like that. So, but it kind of makes
ambiguous.
Sense. Yeah, but it does make sense where you've got demons who try to pull a trick on the populace. It would be more prevalent there. Obama saying "Hail Satan," even if it's not the classic. Obama's a Satan worshipping, blood drink or whatever. The idea of he's tricking the populace because he's being disingenuous and lying, and so it's once again it's the symbolism of coming through from the subconscious.
Right. So all I want to say is that if you actually listen to the last hour, I think Chicago Brew put it in the chat. It's the last hour of Jeff Rentz, and he does John David Oates, and he does. It's nothing but Australians, and it's so demonic.
Well, he is Australian. Isn't he recording Australian ministers?
Yeah,
so that would make sense.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm not surprised about any kind of ministers or anyone in government having reverse speech that says that kind of stuff. I think people in heavy metal bands should really get ministers as front lead singers, so that when people do their metal songs in reverse, they actually come up with some good stuff.
Well, that's the thing about it.
What I'm saying is that
I know what you're saying. You've said it like 4 times. You just keep harping on the same thing. It goes over and over.
Oh no, you're not letting me finish. You're very interesting, Cortex. I can snoop out a COINTEL operative.
No, dude. You seem like COINTEL. You come on here with your agendas every single time.
Do you believe that there's chemtrails?
I
believe there's chemtrails.
No, I know there's chemtrails.
Okay, actually, the thing about Oates, he because he is broadcasting to an American audience with Rentz, it's primarily an American audience, even though Rentz is worldwide. He doesn't necessarily focus. He will focus on sometimes UK, but it's mostly America and our politicians.
Yeah.
But it sounds like and I haven't listened to it, but it just sounds the way he's telling it, that he was so concerned of what he was unraveling with your own politicians, that he just had to dedicate a whole show to it. And if he's suggesting that he was shaken up by it, I don't doubt it.
Maybe it's worth checking out.
It's interesting as well because of it's interesting because of the timing of what's happening. Where I think that the 2050 carbon greenhouse crap, and that's popped up. Our Prime Minister, his nickname's Scotty from marketing, because he wasn't really a politician. He worked in the advertising industry, and he ended up being Prime Minister.
Right, well, no. We got
no. Let me finish.
Okay, all right.
Because even the Victorian Premier is joined the Belt and Road deal with for China, and we have the COVID. Now, last year, you can see a version of that. They test out certain things here in Australia first, and then try it in other countries. Melbourne had a severe lockdown for just 4 months or something ridiculous like that. It felt so much longer, and now you can see it in England and the United States. Are going to try and do it, but Biden is Biden, so who knows? There is a pushback where states are going, well, is it Iowa or one of the Midwest states are actually going, stick it, and they're taking into the Biden administration to court. Right. It's fascinating though with the Australian ministers is because there's in the next Cortek, is it the next 2 weeks when they start to roll out the vaccines?
I think I don't really know actually. I thought it was all being put off, and we weren't getting any for ages.
Well, who knows? Well, that was supposed to purpose. Yeah, they were supposed to come out in February. So, mate, that's the big push. And so the timing of Mr. Oates doing it is perfect in that respect, because if they're going to do, they have to word up the populace through what they're saying, and then their actions kick off. Now you can go ahead, Jacker.
Yeah, right. So, Monty, yeah. No, let me just give Cortex a little test on alternative radio. So, Cortex, do you believe in like chemtrails?
I don't answer questions.
Oh, you don't?
Well, someone's been listening to Vinnie Eastwood and How to Respect a Policeman.
I did. That's where I got it from.
Yeah, so I don't ask questions.
Let me just ask you. Do you believe in like chemtrails?
What do you mean chemtrails? Are you talking about geoengineering? What are you talking about there?
Yeah, right.
It's a broad spectrum you've just dished out on the table.
Oh, geoengineering. Go ahead. Do you believe in that?
I believe it happens. Sure, it's been going on for decades.
If I could be Cortek, can I be Cortek's lawyer here or assistant? Don't say you believe.
Cortek.
Yeah, Cortek. Say no. Don't. Well, obviously, don't say anything. But Cortek. You asked the same question 18 times in 3 minutes. Yeah. But I know. Oh, for fuck! I know that chemtrails exist. I don't know what they're for, but I know. But it's saying, do you believe? It's like, do you believe Santa? It's like, no. I believe, but knowing is better than believing.
You believe directed energy weapons burned up Pasadena, California? Cortex, do you believe that?
Look,
if I was Pasadena, California.
If I was a scientist and you were approaching me, talking to me about chemtrails, I'd say, I don't know what you're talking about. But if you said to me stratospheric engineering, I'd say, oh, yeah, that's going on.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. No, I'm trying to. No, I've been able to ferret out these type of people. So, Cortex.
I'm not answering any of your questions on air, dude. Okay? You could be the plant. Probably are.
Oh, is that right? So you want to answer any question about directed energy weapons?
No, I'm just not answering any kind of personal questions. So,
wow. Personal questions? Really? Your belief system? Wow.
Not to you.
Strangely enough, someone's belief system is personal. It's kind of weird how that works.
It looks like Cortex is getting a check. That's what it looks like.
Getting what?
How? He's been waiting 5 years to disagree with you on this show, and that's validated his salary from the CIA. Well done, sir.
Oh, no.
Every single week, HiJacker, you come on with your agenda, and everyone goes through it, and then everyone goes through it 4 or 5 times, and then you hang up in some big huff, and then you come back and say, I'm not on radio anymore, and then you go through it all again. If that isn't COINTEL Pro running through the same fucking playbook, give me a break, dude.
Oh, boy. This is good
stuff. Hey, let's
Wow.
So, hey, look,
Shuffle.
Monty wanted to talk about the hearings today, which I didn't catch all of. I only caught a couple small clips, but I did notice the guy, the dual citizen. He's a dual citizen here in the United States. They call himself a Democrat. They're the people that want to change all the laws here because for our own good, because they're dual citizens loyal to another country, but they know what's best for us. And he came out with these crocodile tears. Oh, his daughter.
That's right, yes.
Again, they make up these stories, this fiction. My daughter was at the Capitol and she was in fear for her life, and he gives these crocodile tears. Oh, I'm crying. But you know what? These sons of guns, these pitiful whatever, they want sympathy for what they're kicking you in the face, but you want to be sympathetic for them.
Yeah, everyone's awake to the emotional trigger these days, and no one's buying it anymore.
Well, yeah, explain the BLM and Antifa riots. Oh, they're totally fine, and because it's all political. They hate Trump because he exists, and yet then there's a softball insurrection. There was a coup. From one perspective, those people were trying to stop the coup because the election wasn't stolen. According to Time magazine, it was fortified. Have you seen that article?
Did you hear that fake woke song that came out? It's an interesting song it's an interesting new song with a lot of kind of nice rhymes in it. One of the lines was, what was it? Black Lives Matter seemed like the strangest, seems like the strangest name, when it comes to the government. They're screwing all of us the same and all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of great stuff in it. Yeah, but, people are awake to that stuff.
Was 9/11 an inside job, Cortex?
Dude, what do you want?
Yeah, was 9/11 an inside job?
You tell me.
He's not on trial here.
I like to plead the fifth. Hey, he's not Assange. You can't. You can't have a son. He's not a citizen of the United States, so you can't hold him up to
an inside job or not. Monty, was 9/11 an inside job?
There's no doubt about it. It was. Well, I don't know if you don't know the answer to that one yourself.
There was compliance from the U.S. government because why did Darth Cheney get the what was it, the 2 F-111s left whatever Air Force, and instead of heading to New York, they were sent 150 miles off the coast into the Atlantic Ocean. So,
right, well, you know that, but does Cortex know that? Cortex.
Of course I know that. Jesus, what's your problem? What is your problem?
It's been 20 years.
Apart from the obvious.
Hey, look, HiJacker, it's not going to go anywhere. Monty has a non-extradition treaty for your
yeah, Planet Collingwood doesn't rep, yo. We have no you have no embassy on my planet. All right. Well, that was the first half. It's been interesting. We're coming up to a break here on Revolution Radio. If you're still with us, hey, I'm hoping you're enjoying this. A bit of argy-bargy, a bit of sparring, and just, yeah.
In the second hour, no David Oates.
all Hall. No Hall and Oates at all. But it's we'll get into just the ridiculousness of everything. I'll leave with one little tidbit to fill up the airtime, because I think we've got about a minute or two. Tom Brady, there was a football match in the United States. The Super Bowl was on. I'm like, okay. Tom Brady, I think he's won his 7th Super Bowl. If you're into sport, cool. Even on paper, that's still impressive, winning the top game of the sport. He's won 7. That's good. I don't know anything else about him. Apparently he's a Trump supporter. He doesn't wear a mask. And he's been called racist because he won a Super Bowl in Black History Month. This is the level of stupidity.
That's so racist.
Yeah, that's the stupidity level that we're at now.
Was he not wearing 3 masks? I heard that racism.
No masks at all. So when we come back after these short messages here on Revolution Radio, we'll find out what is racism and what isn't. You're listening to Planet Collingwood. It's Studio A, Revolution Radio. We'll be right back. Stick around. And welcome back. Ah, yes, the echo. I wrote something for this.
I love the echo.
Do you?
Is it me?
Do you? No. Oh, it's gone now. All right. I just have fun. There, you are listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, and I have to click the right button there, correct button. That's it. I nearly put the call on hold, and that's good radio. Funny stuff. Anyway, yeah, if you enjoyed the last hour, please go to freedomslips.com, revolution.radio, donate what you can. Go to the merchandising part of it, buy some caps, t-shirts for your US summer, and then pop into the chat room and hang out with some awesome people. They're having they glance at the show, and then excuse me, they have their own conversations going on at the same time because they can multitask, proving that humanity is evolving. Now, someone who is evolving and he's part of humanity is Steve Zerilath. Steve, how are you, sir?
I am here to kick arse and chew bubblegum. And
you're all out of arse? No, damn, I got that wrong. Oh, good work. So, while I remember, I was speaking to my nephew on the weekend, and he basically said, I want to be a pirate. It's like, oh, you mean like a criminal? Yeah. And I asked him, private or public?
What did he say?
He looked at me strangely. He's like, what? Well, see, you could become your own privateer, or you can go into government.
You could become a highway pirate.
That meme has been around as a political cartoon for like a decade now. Come on. Gotta give credit. That's from a meme.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, Stevie Z got me. I'll have to cut back on my wage for the show. What is a third of nothing? Oh. So, did you watch any of the impeachment kerfuffle today at all, Steve?
I caught the last second of it, the closing argument of Trump's lawyer, and then the vote itself. So it's fascinating. The precedent for impeaching ex-presidents has been established.
Yeah, a private citizen.
On top of the possibility that it is evidence that Trump is president of something.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's be fair. Everything is possible and nothing is real. To quote Living Colour, the band, not the TV show. So, I'm not 100% sure that Biden's president. But I want clarification. Does that make sense? Where it's like, hey, if Trump is something, it should hopefully by the end of the year we figure out what's going on. But the whole the precedent is the whole thing of the impeachment is the idea is to actually get them out of office, which happened 3 weeks ago. So like, why? Oh, it's they keep saying, because I've been watching it with Crowder, and if you want torture as well as humorous, watch it. It's 4.5 hours. They're not doing that because apparently for the next 2 days they're going to be debating it for 16 hours. And Crowder's gone, we're taking a day off. And Steve, you sound perfect. I should have done what you did, where it's like I caught the last closing arguments and then the vote, and like, that's only 20 minutes. I could have saved 4 hours of my life.
Right. Now, to be 100% fair under these circumstances, if I were to put the shoe on the other foot, and it was the deep state pulling off a proper Reichstag event, a proper Pearl Harbor event like this, where there was a real incitement of violence that an outgoing president did at the last second, especially one that is popular and thus perfectly capable of running again. It might not be a bad precedent to be able to impeach an ex-president, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah. But if I may,
you could have any one-term president screw people over.
Yeah, but the thing is, Steve, you have the criminal justice system to do that, so you don't really need to impeach them because they're a private citizen. They can be arrested and go through that. So I understand, like, you need the balance of justice and balance of like
the impeachment would be the only way to cut President Trump off from intelligence briefings. So you can't arrest a man who is protected because the military gives him intelligence briefings. which is why, Biden is hoping for the impeachment of Trump, because he doesn't want to see Trump getting an intelligence briefing.
He actually commented on that. Biden said we don't trust him. He may say the wrong thing, and I'm like, coming from you, that's hilarious. Like, Biden's afraid someone may slip up and say something he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
Have you seen you for the last 6 months?
Hey, Steve, how's the rest of the Night of the Long Knives going over there in terms of, media saying that that people will be, lists will be made and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, honestly, I'm just not even paying attention to that anymore. I've already reserved my likelihood, if I'm delusional and it's as bad as it's going to get in their projection, of the horror show.
Yeah.
The terrible horror show that will devastate me as a human being when they disappear me and torture me, enslave me, and all those horrible thoughts. So I'm not going to have those horrible thoughts. And I think everything depends on whether we believe Trump saved the soul of the military or not. And I say he did.
Yeah, fair
Plus,
enough.
he's got a lot of judges on his side.
I take into account as well that I'm a low C-grade level celebrity, so there's much more agitators already out there. So I'm kind of safe. Cortek's safe as well. So enjoy the anonymity, if that's the right word. Because,
but if you really want to get over with the guys, you've got to be a double D level celebrity.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Since the moment they conceded and Trump became the official president-elect, an active coup was already happening by an ex-president, by all the people that surround him, and so on and so forth, the Clintons and so on, by ex-presidents, by secretaries of state, by CIA. An active coup was happening this entire time. And during Trump's presidency, it was technically not just the active coup, but acts of insurrection, as they sent out their OFA and their BLM and their Antifa to attack not just stores and buildings, residentials and cars and police cars, but to attack federal buildings and Capitol houses and all sorts of things.
oh, yes.
So all this stuff was going on. What Trump didn't do anything. Look, if you guys actually really know the timeline, they were already, because they thought Trump was going to be done with his speech, okay? Because this is how they pre-planned it. It's kind of like they did Charlottesville. You can compare this to Charlottesville. They had this all pre-planned. And they timed it. Okay, Trump's going to go on stage, he's going to give his speech, and we know he's going to say something about going up to the Capitol and blah, blah, blah. So they pre-planned it. But the thing is, Trump's speech got delayed because he showed up late, and people were delayed. His speech went and dragged on. Well, the people at the courthouse or the Capitol building, the Antifas, the BLMs, the agents, and so on, didn't know this. They were just looking at their watch. Okay, time to go, boys.
Yep.
Girls, let's go. And they rushed that house an hour before Trump even finished his speech. He was still talking, and they were attacking the building. And then you got more time, because it takes a lot of time for those people that were listening to Trump's speech, that anybody that wanted to go to the Capitol. Then you got an additional 20, 30 minutes, an hour for those people to get there.
Yeah.
So everything was already happening. The guy was still talking.
Yes.
So, the whole thing's a charade. Everything they did today was a performance. You might as well have watched Knots Landing, okay, or Dallas.
If I may interject, because we do have a new caller. Knots Landing and Dallas have better plot lines and acting. Let's be fair. I mean, and we know how crap they are. But that's the thing where it's like, my daughter. It's like, even Crowder said, like, finish the thing. I can't go to the Capitol. I don't want to go to the Capitol because what do you do? Because these politicians don't do anything really. Now we have been joined by the Viking. How are you, sir? How is Northern California these days?
Northern California still needs rain. We're kind of in a drought. It's kind of a drag, especially being a farmer here. Our water holes are not even beginning to be full. But other than that, all's good. I wanted just to comment that your last hour you talked about some kind of reverse. What was that called again? Reverse
Speech.
Speech, right? Well, ever since Trump's tenure as president, their whole strategy has been reverse strategy. I mean, it's just like nails on a chalkboard when they open their mouths. That everything you're saying, they're guilty of. I mean, everything they're saying is this insurrection. They're the ones that have committed insurrection. They're the ones committing a coup. I was listening to some robot congressman about 6 days ago where they wanted to deprogram all the Trumpers. I mean, Jesus, man, it's like
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It's just everything out of their mouth is they're guilty of. I mean, everything. It's reverse strategy. This is like it's more than reverse. What's that called? Reverse subconscious. What? Reverse speech.
Reverse speech through the subconscious.
This is reverse strategy. I mean, they are so blatant. They're not even hiding it. I mean, but they have to, like, everything that they see that they're about ready to get incriminated for, they turn it around and they put it onto Trump. Everything. I mean, there's not one single strategy that they're doing that they themselves have not committed and are guilty of.
Well, that was Operation Mockingbird, and that never finished, really. They were only going to be comfortable that their operation had met success when everything that people believed was the reverse of the truth.
It goes back to Art of War, where the quote is, accuse your adversary of what you're doing. And the perfect example of that is when Trump got impeached the first time because he made a phone call to the Ukraine. Now, when Biden did a phone call to the Ukraine, he basically threatened blackmail because he wasn't going to give over $1.9 billion in foreign aid if a certain investigator didn't leave Hunter Biden alone. And
I was going to ask if that was something about his son, a deal that his son stuffed up.
Yeah, something. Yeah, he's been because criminal activity.
There's certain prosecutor that he said this guy does not back off. I'm not sending you the funds. It was a prosecutor.
Yeah. And this is not actually hearsay. Joseph Biden said this at the Foreign Council Relations at a public event, and it's recorded.
He was gloating. He was gloating.
Let me just jump in here. Wait a minute, Viking.
Go ahead, HiJacker.
Yeah, let me just jump in here. Here is the problem with the Biden presidency, and it has to do with the honor of the United States military. The fact is that Biden on tape has shown on videotape that he is a pedophile. He has basically sexually assaulted young girls as little as 6 years old, trying to touch their breast, them yanking out of the photo op because Biden has been touched on them.
I'd say even sniffing the nape of the neck is kind of easy.
No, I'm not talking about that. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Biden. Verbal, sexual.
But he's just saying it's a crime.
No, you're not getting my point.
We are. We're reinforcing it because what Biden's doing, he's over 3 lines. If Trump did one thing 2 lines ago, where it's like if Trump leaned in and sniffed the neck of somebody, the media would have a field day and there would be investigations and everything else like that. And you
got verbal sexual assault. Yeah. With Biden is standing next to a 13-year-old girl. Now I'm talking to the United States Marines. These are the Marines that are supposed to protect our country. And they're going to let a pedophile like Biden become the chief commander?
They're not.
In which he stands next to a 13-year-old girl?
Sniffing somebody out, that's how a consenting adult gets to first base. So you are watching.
Well, Steve, if I must interject here, Steve. Do you really need to do it at a press conference?
It's when a commander
so creepy.
Says, I'm standing next to a 13-year-old girl.
Or even saying. Or even saying that kids like to play with my hairy legs.
What I'm saying is, where's the United States Marines? They have no honor.
They are.
The United States Marines have no honor.
That's bullshit. They're
oh my
in full
God,
tilt
HiJacker.
boogie.
You need to take that kind of stuff back. Yeah. You need to
No,
go.
I'm not
Also,
taking it
as we
back.
speak,
You're letting
as we
Biden,
speak.
a pedophile Biden, become president,
You're-
commander-in-chief. They're not
You're-
doing nothing. They're not doing nothing.
Listen,
You're tripping,
Jack-
HiJacker, unless you're trying to incite them.
Yeah, all right, everyone take a breath.
Feel
Take a
very
breath.
strongly, Jacker, we feel just as strongly about the evidence as you do. But that but the truth of the fact is that we're still trying to break through that conversation on the level that the Marines can do something about
Steve, the world's laughing at us.
There's other
They're laughing
factors.
at the Marines.
Yeah, but
They're
you,
not
yes, but
laughing at the Marines.
No, they're not, HiJacker.
there is a problem with optics and through public relations and everything else like that, because in one scenario Trump has taken a step out and is allowing the military to do whatever it's doing, which makes sense, because if Trump does anything about regaining the republic from the deep state, Trump could easily be made out to be the villain. But if Trump is just waiting in the wings and allowing things to unfold, and basically the military should follow their oath, and because the CIA knows all what's going on, and
the military is probably arresting various independent contractors in Washington, D.C. that are the various deep state agents and operatives. That's what I think. The military is handling everything but the political sphere. They're handling everything that they don't want to report about, but is the good stuff, right? And when we start arresting actual politicians, right? Because I'm sorry, people keep saying, no offense to the guys here that say that they are. I'm just saying the logic doesn't make sense. With the whole ankle bracelet, these people are on some sort of house. You don't arrest somebody like that and then don't publish that arrest for a public elected official just because of media optics. And
would straight away.
they can go, and then they go and do their job, and they go vote, and they do more treasonous things in the Capitol and in the White House.
Yeah, but I mean, we're
Can I?
military.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Viking, because Viking knows a bit about the subject, so we'll just get some intel from him.
So it's called strategy. You can't go out there and do a frontal attack when you're still in the in your your round table plotting the takedown of Biden. I mean, he's there in full activity. They just spent the last week cleaning out the dumbs and chambers connecting this 200 miles under Washington D.C. They're pulling out bodies and children and adults, and I mean,
is this real? Because we have kind of reports like this. Is it really real?
Yeah, it's real.
Remember the D.C. earthquake during the Obama administration that cracked the capstone of the Washington Monument? Well, that was a white hat operation, and they blew up something serious down there. I forget what they said it was, if they said what it was. But there was a major, purge of super breakaway civilization crap down there that was a threat.
And a reptilian stronghold. So they have control of the White House. Biden has not been in the White House since he's been in office. He's not seen the interior of the White House. The White House has been captured like a chess game.
It does seem like his background, his blue screen is changing.
No. He's in an old West Wing mock-up in
green screen.
Hollywood.
It's Castle Rock Studios. It's actually not in California.
Can I finish here? It's owned by Amazon. It's a Bezos studio. It's Castle Rock. If you look at the set, you can see they actually still the artwork from West Wing. And if you look out the window, you can see a parking lot. There's cracks in the wall. I mean, it's very poorly done. But basically using this as his backdrop to pretend that he's in the Oval Office, they have him on the run, and they're just biding time here. Again, this whole thing with the impeachment is to flush out the turncoats. The turncoats back in the Revolution days was someone that was had turned towards the British, was siding with the British. So Patriot siding with the British was the turncoat. He's still flushing out the turncoats.
I just like the wordplay that he's biding his time. Like, that's how the universe works. There'll be a Trump, and then there'll be a Biden, and like, who writes this stuff? It's like it's just really weird how those quirky
GameStop, and GameStop, right? Stopping the game.
Yeah, like it's a fantastic thing about creation where you have someone's names come up, and it's like Wolf Blitzer. Was someone really drunk on vodka when they came up with that name? You know what I mean? It's like I can't think of anything. Go ahead, Steve.
So I can state from a very reliable source that I just feel strongly I shouldn't mention it, at all, even though it's not really a secret.
Go on.
That just to let you know that one thing that is happening, because some things that the Democrats want seem to be happening, is that ICE is not following certain orders that are within their lawful purview. A whole lot of roundup and deportation processing, almost all of it, has come to a stop. So that is a reality. There are things being affected from ICE. That's one of the places.
Yeah. Either they're not obeying it, or they're definitely speaking out against what they're being told to do.
Oh, and also today, my local gas station. For the last 4 years, gas was $2.59 a gallon straight. It never effing moved at this ExxonMobil gas station with a Dunkin' Donuts in it, and a convenience store. And today it jumped to $2.69, a dime. It jumped up a whole dime in a day.
Is that I'm because I can just speak Australian wise, where we've had we're in litres, and I can't remember the difference between litres and gallons, and I figured it out once, and it's roughly the same. But we actually, I think,
no, it's not.
Yes, it is. If you have the same amount of
Steve,
anyway,
is it pipeline related?
We've had 40 cents.
Sorry, what?
Is it pipeline related? The rise in price?
Yes.
Maybe Biden canceled the Keystone. It's like I see a lot of things stopping. I don't necessarily see a lot of things starting. And if we're right about the military, then I think there's a safe gamble that the troop movement is under whoever's in charge of the national emergency. Okay, so whoever's in charge of that. I'm not asserting that.
What I'm looking for as far as the military is that this new defense secretary, this black fella, that's in charge of the Department of Defense.
First of all, he's not in charge.
Right. The
military does not recognize the Biden administration.
I know that. I'm getting to that.
They will not let him in the Pentagon. They will not give him codes. So that this guy is a puppet.
Yeah, Viking. I'm getting to that. What I'm saying is that I'm almost starting to see that they're going to start fragging these people that claim to be in charge, right. And so you're going to start to see different officers, different generals that are picking up sides. They're going to get fragged. I'm talking about, you're talking about the military. You're starting to see a breakup, but there is something going on with the military in which they're not giving up their power. I don't know. They say there's 800 flag officers that are against Biden. And they're not basically breaking ranks. If you say you fire this general, they're not saying no, that's not going to happen. So I don't know what's going to happen, but go ahead.
What's happening is we're living in what's known as a bifurcated reality. There are two realities occurring here. There's this fake Biden administration, and there's the military in control under martial law. Both are existing at the same time. They're kind of like diabolically opposed. But the deep state, their train's off the track, man, or their ship has hit the rocks and they're sinking. But they still think it's afloat. They still think it's working. They're still trying to make us believe that everything's all right.
Yeah.
But they're sinking. Their ship it's gone. They're done.
They're
arrogant.
You
have to understand that the inauguration wherever it actually happened and whenever it actually happened was a hollow, meaning a dead ritual, without the psychic energy of believers, of the ignorant that have faith in them, to be there physically present to give their consent
to honor and celebrate.
To
So
the
what Viking is saying, it's basically saying is that the real military, I'm talking about the special forces, there's 800 different flag office generals are breaking with the surface type political military structure.
They're not breaking. So, they're not honoring it. They're not acknowledging its credence. No, you got from full-bird colonels to four-star generals. You're right. 800 of them are basically forming rank and file around Trump.
Viking, let me know if you agree with this assessment, because we are in a loop of a time, and we've been reset as far as politically speaking, psychologically, psychically speaking, to 2012. However, in this loop, because of the way it played out before we crossed the barrier on the 20th, because that was the mirror, because 12/20/2021 is a palindrome. It's the same numbers forwards and backwards, which is how something is supposed to be lawfully written. A properly lawfully written statement to be submitted into a court, to be transmitted as information to a judge, is meant to read forwards and backwards the same. So that was part of the Saturn energy. And so we're in the middle of a situation where the resets happened, but the reset is kind of like, it's also like a Back to the Future kind of time rewrite, where it's an illusion. Think Superman 2, when General Zod made Superman step inside the depowering chamber. Mm-hmm. But before General Zod showed up, Superman had switched the crystal polarities. So that way Superman kept his powers, and the bad guys lost their powers, and they were mortal men, and Superman just wiped the floor with them. Right. That's what's happening right now. They haven't realized it because they haven't punched Superman yet. Wait for their fist to break. It'll be funny.
So if you look at this on a grandeur scale, if you step out of this 3D hologram and step out of this, the first level of this chess game, you go to level 5. On a galactic point of view, these dark powers, these satanic dark powers, which is originally an Orion agenda. It's what took down Lyra. It's what took down Maldek. It's what took down Atlantis. And it's been filtered through our existence as mankind for the past 9,000 years in these different strategies. There's 5 layers. There's the geopolitical, geoeconomic. There's the pragmatic, dogmatic belief structure of mankind, the health of the planet, the health of the body. All 5 have been subjugated in one form or another. One form or another, we've been under subjugation, divided and conquered in the stratagem of the deep state, of the satanic powers, of the reptilians, of this draconian agenda. So what had to happen here is, since Trump became tenured president, they've been trying everything. For the first time, they've been exposed. Okay, this is what they hate. The dark hates to be exposed by the light. So they've been trying everything in the book to knock him down. It has gotten to the point where they are employing all 5 states, all 5 levels. This has become a perfect storm. This has become the 5 layered cake has lined up perfectly. So when it does come down, the entire energetic structure of their cabal will be dismantled energetically and forever. So what we're seeing here is a very decisive play by the military, by the Marines, by the president, to make sure that when he does pull the plug, everybody has been exposed. The turncoats, every last one of them, has to be in this cordoned off area, so it can be done right and never be affected again. So this is on a grand scale. miraculous what he is doing. I mean, this is phenomenal what's occurring. Never ever before in galactic history have we been so succinct in routing out this dark force.
I think the main thing is kind of it's really shown a lot of people, or woken a lot of, I hate to use that word.
Awoken, yeah.
Really to made them just look at the situation, whatever the conclusion they came to, and that's what kind of everything on Twitter has really showed me that no matter whether something is a psyop or not, it showed me that there's a lot of people who want to get involved, and there's a lot of energy, a lot of people have seen these same old tricks their whole life politically, and think and go and look. Every single time it's the same, same pattern. I have absolutely no faith, really, that politicians are anything but dangerously incompetent at every single turn, and people are elected that look like that so that people behind the scenes can do decisions that are against the people over and over.
Yeah, well, we're ruled by psychopaths, run by idiots. And with the awakening, people are just awakening like a base level, which still is awesome. People are awakening to the lie that is in the 3D reality.
So many.
And I mean, obviously, if you end up meeting Odin at the end of your spiritual journey, awesome. But the main thing is, a lot of people are waking up just to the whole utter lie about government's good and isn't life fun, and there's another war still. You know what I mean? It's people waking up to the medical system sucking, the politicians sucking, and that's what I can see in many timelines. Biden taking over from Trump. Biden's actually waking more people up because he's so 180 of Trump, where it's only been 3 weeks. It feels like a year and a half. Viking, and then Steve, please.
So, this is the awakening of mankind. I mean, we are awakening from mankind to humanity, which will be revered as the galactic race. Humanity is priming itself, and what's interesting, I've been sharing this on my show for the past months. I mean, months and months. That the awakening process is all we have to do as a human. Is just to wake up. Again, all 5 levels, either geopolitically, geoeconomically, pragmatically, dogmatically, health plan, health your body. Waking up is waking up. You don't have to be a yogi. You don't have to be a vegetarian. You don't have to be, a mystic. It's just waking up is just coming to understand that we've been duped, that this isn't real. It's like the Matrix. You're waking up, and
not
you're
being indifferent to it.
Exactly. You're just waking up, and this is what we're doing. To make a stand, boots on the ground. We're known as a silent army. If you look at the fact that 80% of the votes were for Trump, those are people that have awoken. And this one was saying they want to deprogram us. No, this is not it's so ludicrous. They're the ones that are programmed.
Yeah, Steve.
Thank you. So, like, once in a while, HiJacker, you're going to want to, I actually forwarded it to you in the group chat. Every once in a while, there's the mystical side of the evangelical community, the born-again community, ones that, are very focused on the Holy Spirit coming over them and letting the Holy Spirit, work through them, work the quote-unquote miracles. Prophecy of the Two Presidents, which is one of Trey Smith's videos. Trey Smith loves Kim Clement, who is a some sort of, I think he's like an evangelical of sorts, prophet. He does music. I'm not sure if he's a singer, because he's got an incredibly like Archangel Gabriel beautiful voice. And in the middle of these very powerful worship, sessions with music, and I know what this is like from my time in an Assembly of God church. A political prophecy will come to him, and he's done a few prophecies, including the prophecy of Trump getting elected himself. And so, in short, it's called the prophecy of the two presidents because that's where we're at right now. But it gives an explanation, and it fits with everything that we've been talking about. In the prophecy, he said that it will look like all is lost, but it is only for a season. The dark winter ends around the beginning of spring. Miracles start to happen, So once this impeachment thing is over, and it doesn't really matter what the result of the impeachment is, once it's over, no matter whether they convict him or not, it's going to be it's going to all backlash. It's all going to backlash because this is bigger than everybody. All right. And it's rare that I give, Christian mystics this much credit.
I hope you're right. I seriously hope you're right. We've been having
it's a good video.
We've had this charade of a society, for so long, and so many, there's a whole bunch of people just slowing things down. Feels over.
It has to play out to the bitter end. I mean, again, he has to flush out every turncoat. I mean, even during the impeachment proceedings, 5 more GOPs crossed the line. Republicans. This is where, it's going to get grueling. But everything that Biden is doing is a moot point. It has no standing.
I don't think even he knows that. Because, there's footage of him signing an executive order, which is nothing's printed on him. Nothing's printed on it. And I think it's the same one where he's like, I don't even know what I'm signing. And off camera, just sign it. It's like, I jokingly said just keep him in a VR studio and just pretend he's, keep telling him he's the president. And then Steve's pointed out, well, they're doing that, but they're telling everyone else he's president as well. It's like, oh, that's even scarier.
Well, he's basically a clone at this point. He hasn't been Biden for a while. If you look at old shots of him signing, he's a right-hander, but he's signing with his left hand. And
sometimes they reverse the photos, though. That's that simple, I think.
Yeah, but
if
in
it's
this
video,
case, it's in the Oval it's in the Oval Office, and it's showing up with the tenure of the Oval Office in Castle Rock studio, and his signature has completely changed. I mean, it's not his old signature. He started off with an R dot and then whatever, but it's not even him. I don't even think that's him.
It's so weird, and that whole presentation kind of event with the military dude in the background that got his costume from some rent-a-costume place. There was no medals on it. It's just
it's a stripper costume.
Does it have the pants with the Velcro at the back that you just rip off in one move?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Amazing.
And scary at the same time. Let me invade your country and save you.
Yeah, you've got a guy who's practically impersonating an officer for Biden. But if you go back to 2016, look at how well decorated the guy that walked Trump down the stairs was. Go take a look at all of his impressive shiny things on his coat.
The color guard had no color, is what it is.
Yeah, what I find funny about North Korea is it's still technically in a war with South Korea, and that's been on hold since 1953 or 1954. There've been a truce, and yet you see all the military guys and their chests just covered with medals. It's like, well, what did you do? Go to a canteen and order
weight in medals.
Yeah, it's like I had coffee with the leader. Oh, here's your medal.
That's what makes me think these are the people in the military are probably the most honourable people among us because they've been forced through things and they've had to choose for themselves what makes a good life or what makes them, So they've really had to kind of jump up and answer that question early on, where a lot of us don't have to even question it, or don't have to ask that question of ourselves, what we would do in that situation, or if we were forced into that situation, what we would do after, and how easy we would see this path from that path over.
Just having a think, had a thought about the whole coup, insurrection, Capitol Hill riot, the incident, because they impeached Trump straight away, basically. I think it was 2 days later, and he incited violence. And it's been a month. Aren't you glad that CNN and Fox News and NBC have been showing you the actual moment in time of his speech that actually showed him inciting violence? Oh, no, wait, that never happened. You want to? It's been a month.
No, you don't understand. You see, Trump was talking in code because peace means violence because he's an evil authoritarian.
Reverse again.
No, it's not reverse. You got to think BLM, where they're mostly peaceful protests, and when they heard peaceful protests, they clearly meant, we can burn this mother lover down,
as long as someone supplies us with the bricks.
Yeah, if we're fighting social justice.
Because we're going to pay for that stuff ourselves. That's not because we never get, submit the form and the money never comes back.
Even with the receipt. Go ahead, Steve.
I said yes. They need Freemasonry.
Well, they do that when the pallets turn up. They free the masonry towards the police.
See what you did there.
Well, I find that it's so blatantly, like, anyone with critical thinking is like, oh my god, the MAGA army is trying to kill AOC. Like, well, she wasn't there, so let's move on. And if that's an insurrection, what the hell has been happening in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, for 6 months now? Because that looks like an insurrection. They're not pipe bomb, but it's. Go ahead, Brew.
No, longer than that in Oregon. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it makes it worse. And what I find, I think now, I could be wrong. What I find the whole all of that is that was a trap for Trump to bring in the federal element military, but he didn't bite. He didn't fall for that trap because
he kept on saying we need to be invited. He
Yes.
said that about a dozen times.
Yes, yeah. He actually followed the letter of the law. Now, interesting enough, in the last 3 weeks, the Biden administration or whoever it was, but the federal officers have gone in and used tear gas in less than 2 days. But the media is ignoring it. This is the other thing about the whole setup, is the media is being exposed of their one-sidedness, their I'm trying to find the right word, bias. They're so biased now, and I thought we're doing quite.
How do we get?
They're more than biased. They're seditious and they're treasonous.
Yeah, how do we get past that though? Like as a race of people, there's no way we will. No way we could hear everything ourselves. So no way we will stop looking to find people
To answer your question,
to listen to. So how do we do that right?
It's been happening for the last 4 years. The ratings for CNN in Biden's administration for the first week dropped 44%. And
Does
so
it simply come down to who owns these
but if no one's watching
enterprises, these monopolies that are owned?
If you're losing money and no one's watching it, there's no advertising, there's no money going in. That's why YouTube and big tech are freaking out or trying to control things, instead of independent creators like myself and Steve. They're letting NBC have a YouTube channel because people are moving away from legacy media because they're full of crap, and so now YouTube's the way to go instead of television. So there's that. And it's all media, but the legacy media is losing its power, and they're freaking out. Viking, go ahead.
So the mainstream media is collapsing. Last week, Jeff Zucker announced his retirement. Why would he do that?
The midget guy. I saw that.
Yeah, Jeff Zucker.
People have just got their arms up in the air.
Jeff Bezos has stepped down to do philanthropy work. Yeah, right. If they both been arrested, or they both been doing a plea deal here, because they're slowly being taken out. Have you even seen a live performance by Biden? Has not been. I mean, I've been watching this for weeks. I've not seen a live performance of Biden. I've seen tape performances. I've seen the same way with the guy from the computer up north. What's the guy's name? His name, Microsoft. Gates.
Gates.
I think it's the same with him. I think he's been taken out. You've not seen a live performance of Gates. They're slowly taking these guys out, and there's actually a whole. They're going to start creating news stations here. I think Trump's even about ready to create his own news station on the wings. But these guys are being taken down for sedition and treason. Simple as that.
I think Bezos just was in, too many restaurant situations where someone threw a shoe at him or something.
Important question. Is CNN's Washington office inside or outside of the National Mall? Is it inside? Is it inside the martial law or outside of the martial law?
The demilitarized zone.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea. I did find was it last year? Or it was last year where CNN had a riot at the front of their own building, and it was very hard for them to try and report on it.
Slow news day.
It was like we support. Yeah, it's like that Bill Hicks joke. I'm for the war, but against the troops. And so with CNN, it's like, well, we're for the people, but we're against our building.
Right. It's just like, it's like, okay, at least BLM finally hit a building that I'm not going to object to. That was my attitude about it. To be honest, I was so spiritually and psychically spent by that point in the summer of love that I said, oh, good, somebody at least picked the right target this time. This is going to happen anyway. Might as well happen to the best people that it should happen to.
Well, same thing with Antifa last week, where the week before they attacked the Democratic office in Oregon, and that's when the feds came out with the tear gas. Go ahead, Brew. I stepped on you there.
There was an innocent bookshelf that got harmed there, allegedly, and the kidnapping of Nancy Pelosi's podium. So I don't appreciate you celebrating this.
Did the podium get kidnapped and we didn't hear anything about it?
No, that podium was adopted at a young age, and the father decided to come and get back his. And
I heard that Mein Kampf was on the shelf.
Yeah, the German version, the German printing.
No, actually, it was Hillary Clinton's.
It was a gift.
Hillary Clinton's latest.
It's a gift from the Queen. Let's be
Hillary
fair.
Clinton's old books, Witchcraft for Beginners. So go ahead.
Yeah, still in the wrapping. Very weird. We're at that point where there's a lot of people like, really, that we're so over this. It's also the energy of the whole election cycle. And then on election night, it fizzled out. I think Trump did the right thing. It's like, we're stopping the counting, mainly because we can see that the fix is in. And you had BLM and Antifa wandering the streets going, what do we do now? Go ahead, Viking.
Yeah.
You missed one of her prized books, The Culinary Arts of Cannibalism.
Oh, yeah, that classic.
Spirit Cooking and You. Yeah.
There you go. How to bring the old family together.
Even dead grandma.
It's like fried green tomatoes, man.
Remember in 2017, that guy was going to have a show, endorsing cannibalism from like a culture that they were doing a show on where he eats like a human brain. They canceled that show because it went overboard.
Yeah, well, cannibalism is a bit overboard, let's be fair.
Just a tad.
Yes, but, in Washington, he had
Depends on the situation.
Restaurants.
Say that again, Brew?
In Washington, D.C., in that area, and plus L.A., and various places around the country, I can only imagine, they have cannibal restaurants. I mean, this stuff is out in the...
Oh, no, they definitely do.
And that's part of the Team Dark, is their arrogance and hubris, because they think they've gotten away for it so long that they're arrogantly, like, once again, the whole Time article basically saying, well, the election wasn't rigged, it was fortified. It's like, it was rigged, but it wasn't a small cabal of tech people, blah, blah, blah. It was a small group of people who, it described the same thing, and it just basically showing everyone exactly. For those who followed Razor Fist, he was right. Basically, he said, I know, this Hitler guy. Let's give him the man of the year.
The man of the year awards for the last 20 years have just been so dislocated from what's going on.
Yeah, but Razor Fist actually said, I think in November or December, what was going to happen, which has played out, where the total denial that anything's wrong, and eventually they will come out and say, yeah, we did it, but we did it for the right reasons. And that's basically the level of stupidity we're dealing with, where it's like, I didn't steal the cake, and then 3 minutes later, okay, I ate the cake because I was hungry.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me that deleted people's content. It was the algorithm.
Yeah, all that type of stuff. But because they pulled it off, they need people to know about it. Go ahead, Brew.
For the last 4 years, when they banned Melania Trump from being on any magazine cover, being celebrated in any way, shape, or form, and they kept putting Michelle Obama on these covers, while Time magazine 4 years straight restrained themselves from putting Michelle Obama on there as man of the year, and they says no, not yet.
Yeah, and the first lady, it's like, she's still an attractive, dare I say, young woman, because she's younger than the Donald.
But she's younger than Dolly Parton.
Attractive and classy. She's classy.
Yeah, it's that chic, the pure class, and Bette Midler, because Bette Midler's special. I'll just put it that way.
Special needs. Not in an attractive sexual way.
No. Let's move on. Ugh, bad. But she had to go at Melina's, Mrs. Trump's accent. It's like, yeah, how dare the European who can speak 4 different languages? She still has an accent. You out of touch hack. I mean, Bruce McDonald actually follows Bet on Twitter just for the laughs. We're not laughing at Bet's jokes. We're just laughing at Bet.
Well, Bette Midler is a sophisticated dual citizen, so we can't.
Yeah, it's so weird when, like, in the States, I can understand it because of the way that the country was actually created. That whole thing of we need a revolution so we can break away from the British Empire, and so why they have dual citizens, it's like, because America is America first, and we do things for America. Here in Australia, slightly different, where our country was formed because someone signed a piece of paper in a park once. This politician's got dual citizenship, and everyone's like, yep. It's like, yeah, okay, but it's just an observation. It's not a judgment. But I can
see how in other countries it may affect certain political leanings, though.
Yeah.
By the way, I got to bring it up because I don't know if anybody brought it up. Who here has or hasn't seen Mike Lindell's Absolute Proof?
Hasn't.
No.
It's going to be the greatest 2 hours of your life. Go watch it, especially for the last 20 minutes.
Okay, what is it again? Say it clearly.
Mike Lindell's Absolute Proof. Rumble is the best place to find it. It's mirrored on a lot of channels.
What's Rumble for me?
Rumble.com.
It's another YouTube.
Rumble.com.
Rumble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I highly recommend people check out Rumble. I like Rumble.
Lindell, if you don't know, is the My Pillow guy.
All right, okay, yeah. Now we're coming up to the end, so very quickly, Cortek. Rumble is up there with BitChute, and it's an option to YouTube, and so that's the thing where there's a lot of options now, and
there's
that's
a few coming out, isn't there?
Yeah, which is really annoying.
It's where all the YouTubers have been exiled to.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was having a look at Odyssey and Library. What do you guys think about that? Quickly.
Never heard of it.
Okay, cool.
The thing I want to say about YouTube. YouTube may be a place for excellent, like, non-political entertainment content and maybe some non-political educational content.
Yeah.
But anything that's that's in the political sphere, or unfortunately, covering alternative history theories and things of this nature, that you've got to diversify, and you've got to make choices on third parties to the highly protected top tech, because they're going to start flooding your algorithm with trashy assertions to throw off your scent. You need to get stuff from channel from websites that still have reasonable algorithms for your standards of truth.
Yeah, what I found interesting with the when there was that big censorship, removing the sitting president of the United States off Twitter, nothing sus there. A lot of people going, shot across the bow. Everyone, we're setting up a mailing list on our website, and it's like, going old school, but it makes sense of that's how you can only find out things now, because if the networks are slowly collapsing, not TV networks, but sort of, if a band releases something, what is out there, and if you don't fit into the paradigm of big tech, and you want to go on the outside, free thinking and all that type of jazz, or metal,
I wonder if Trump has an alias account on Twitter where he's like doing little things that then go and infect Twitter with Inception. That would be fun.
Maybe. Now we're coming up to the end of the show, so Steve, while you've got the talking stick, where can people find you on the big wide world web? All
right. My best places are YouTube is still okay. youtube.com/Zerilath. DLive is a lot of fun, and DLive is live stream emphasized. So check that out, because there's a lot of fun participation that can be done on DLive. Zerilath. That's Zerilath. And I'm trying to do more with my Instagram. So follow me on Instagram. All of it's Zerilath. Thank you.
Now, Viking. What subject are you tackling in a couple of days on your show?
It's hard to say. I kind of we'll wait till the last minute, but we're still getting into this bifurcation. Still trying to get people to understand that we're living in two realities, and they need to wake up and start to smell the roses here. Smell the roses, because if you're still caught up with any kind of judgment or expectation or fear or despair, it's because you're still stapled in. You're still caught up in it. And that's your choice. You have to wake up, as we've been sharing here, and place your bets. And there is a whole new reality that you can be atoning to. So Fridays, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Studio A, Galactic Interstellar Council. It's a good show, and it's just such a tenuous time, but still a great time to be present and accounted for. Again, present and accounted for, if you're so able.
Yeah, I'm noticing that I had a conversation in the last 24 hours where, most tragedy, if you just sort of look a little bit deeper, it's a comedy. It's like, it's so tragic. No, it's quite funny. Like the whole, just how everything's falling into place. So that's what. Chicago Brew, are you a host here? I can't remember. I know you are around the station a lot. So if you are, where can people find your show?
Wednesday evenings, Studio A, high noon, 5 to 7 Central.
Nice.
But don't forget to pick their last quarterly magazine, plus his BP Petroleum gift card for all your gasoline needs and all the other good stuff.
Thank you. One-time free donut at Dunkin' Donuts.
And your one-time free donut. That's right. Thank you.
Yep. I can be found last Thursday anywhere you want me to, because I'm a time traveler. Hey. Let's see who else we have. I think HiJacker, are you there? Because you're having a retirement, so thank you for calling in.
Is
this
I think he's gone.
It's the 165th annual retirement party.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, Monty. I'd just like to say 2021 is alt tech year, and everyone should just act like they've just got a computer or just got a phone and just explore apps and things that do things with people not saying that they're going to look down your pants on the agree disclaimer button.
Yeah, that that should be found at all. I was going to ask you as well, and we didn't even touch on altcoins, be Bitcoin and everything else like that.
Oh my God!
Yeah, exactly. So we'll leave that for another time, because I'm sure in another 7 days we'll just watch how everything's going to go.
It's gone crazy.
Yeah. So
Nutters.
yeah, it's just yeah. I'm tired. I'm going to go lie down. So that was Planet Collingwood. We'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. If you can share a couple of shekels, donate to the station. And if you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share. And yeah, we'll still be here because we're like awesome and stuff. And it's because of the little people who grow up to be big people, and then they tell me to get out of their house. We'll be back later on. I'm not sure what's coming up next, but there you are. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy your life. You're awesome. And we'll see you soon.